Single Dad Janitor's hidden talent exposed. 30 seconds to change everything after CEO's remark. Chris stood in the smelly, cramped janitor's closet, hands on his hips, staring at the mountain of garbage bags. The smell of bleach stung his nostrils, but he didn't flinch. He couldn't, not when his daughter Lily was counting on him. She was in her classroom, surrounded by sketches of vibrant colors, dreaming of art school. "Keep pushing, keep hoping," he murmured under his breath as the noise of the bustling high school engulfed him. He was a single dad balancing two worlds, dirty linoleum floors and the bright canvas of his daughter's dreams. Then came the night of the fundraising gala, where influential figures mingled in silk dresses and pinstripe suits, thick with entitlement. Chris wiped a bead of sweat from his brow as he shuffled around the back, scrubbing tables, all while stealing glances at Lily, her enthusiasm radiating like sunshine. But then a voice cut through the air like a jagged knife. The CEO, brimming with arrogance, waved his hand dismissively and barked, "What's the point of a janitorial staff? They're barely visible." Chris felt his heart sink. That thoughtless comment echoed painfully, not just for him, but for their entire tight-knit community. Embarrassment flickered across his face, burning like a branding iron. The whispers around him pierced through the sterile air. "Did you hear that? What does he know about hard work?" Chris looked to Lily. Her eyes were wide, filled with confusion, searching his for answers. He saw her dreams crumpling under the weight of stigma and judgment. But in that moment of raw embarrassment, the community he had cherished rallied around him. They stood behind him, rallying with voices of encouragement. "You have to show them, Chris. You can't hide anymore." They urged him toward the local talent showcase. Chris had played guitar and sung in his younger days, but could he really do it again? Self-doubt crawled through his chest. Yet he remembered the sparkle in Lily's eyes, the dreams that so desperately needed nurturing. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now, let's continue. The night of the showcase buzzed with excitement, an electric tapestry woven from hope and resilience. As he stepped onto that stage, every heartbeat echoed with purpose. The crowd, a mix of familiar faces and newfound supporters, held their breath. Chris poured his heart into every note, a ballad woven from the fibers of his journey, painted with love for Lily. The strumming of his guitar blended with soft sobs from the audience. Tears blurred the lines of shame, replaced by raw emotion and admiration. Just as the applause crashed over him like a tidal wave, the CEO loomed in the back, his face a mask of disdain. Chris felt the heat rise in his chest. Confrontation sparked a fire within. He wasn't just fighting for himself anymore, but for every overlooked soul carrying their own dreams. Would the CEO learn that worth isn't measured by title or status? In that moment, pressures built like thunderclouds. Chris's road to redemption was just beginning, his newfound voice revealing layers of strength and vulnerability they all needed to see. Lily watched, wide-eyed and hopeful, the stage now illuminating a path towards something more profound. The weight of the world felt lighter, yet heavy with anticipation. What would happen next? The applause echoed into the twilight, enveloping Chris in a swirl of emotion. Each round of clapping felt like a shield against the harsh words of the CEO. As he stepped off the stage, heart racing and pulse thrumming in his ears, the faces that greeted him were aglow with admiration. Friends and neighbors rushed forward, offering pats on the back and words of encouragement that felt like warm sunlight breaking through a cloudy sky. "Chris, that was incredible!" shouted Mike, his childhood friend. "You've always had that spark in you." Lily burst through the crowd, her eyes shimmering like stars. "Dad, you were amazing! You really showed him!" She threw her arms around him, and he knelt to match her embrace, their hearts beating in tandem. Together, they pulsed with dreams being reignited. But just behind them, the dense aura of disapproval radiated from the CEO. He stood, arms crossed, watching the spectacle unfold. Chris's joy gave way to anger. How dare this man undermine not just him, but all the hard-working people who kept the school running? The rising tension felt electric, crackling through the air like the calm before a storm. "Can you believe this? You don't know the half of it," said one of his fellow janitors, Sarah, who was in her 30s and had been a co-worker for years. Her frustration mirrored what Chris was feeling. "This is our life. These kids see us every day." In that moment, Chris felt weighty responsibility settle back onto his shoulders. "We need to keep this going," he exclaimed, looking at his friends. "I can't be the only one speaking up. We should share our stories. Our voices matter." An excited murmur went through those gathered. Seeing their hope glimmer in the low light made him feel stronger. Turning back, he faced the obstacle that was the CEO. "You think we're invisible?" Chris called out, steadying his breath. "You think we don't matter? We're the ones making everything happen behind the scenes." Silence fell across the room. Lily squeezed her dad's hand, lending him the courage he needed. "Investing in us, in our stories, will change everything," he continued. The crowd nodded, understanding the transformative power of community. They weren't just janitors or invisible workers. They were the foundation of dreams. They deserved recognition, respect, and a chance to shine, just like Lily hoped to do. The tension in the air was palpable. The CEO shifted uncomfortably, his confidence rattled as murmurs grew louder. "You can't just disregard the people who make your success possible," Chris pressed, emboldened by the support surrounding him. "What kind of leader ignores everyone's contribution?" Some whispers began to spark curiosity in the crowd. Others were outright angry. Chris noticed Lily's smile widen, and in that moment, he realized that he wasn't just fighting for himself. He was fighting to help Lily and every other child like her see a future without barriers. The CEO stiffened, unsure of how to respond. "That's enough," he snapped, but Chris could see the crack in his facade. The tide was shifting, and there might be room for change, however small. Hope flickered like the stage lights behind Chris, illuminating the path ahead. As they gathered their things, Chris felt a rush of exhilaration pulse through him. This was only the beginning. Could he really lead a movement that would inspire others like him? With each determined step, he felt weight lift. He was no longer a mere janitor hidden away. He was a voice ready to be heard. But as he looked at Lila, something caught his eye. An envelope lying forgotten at the back of the stage. Curiosity piqued, he glanced toward it, a thought creeping into his mind. What if it held the key to something even bigger? What if the envelope contained a challenge that would test their resolve even further? Swallowing hard, he took a step towards the mysterious envelope, uncertainty rushing back in. What awaited him and his community on the other side? As Chris reached for the envelope, he felt a surge of adrenaline. The moment was electric. He could sense the attention of his friends shifting from the victorious applause to this unexpected mystery at the back of the stage. He glanced back at Lily, who watched him with wide, inquisitive eyes. She looked up to him, not only as her father, but as someone who dared to challenge the giants in his life. With shaky hands, he picked up the envelope, its surface worn and creased. Chris carefully opened it, heart racing as he unfolded the letter inside. The words inside were typed with precision, stark against the blank paper. His pulse quickened as he read, "Dear staff, we invite you to participate in a community engagement competition. Submit a video showcasing your unique talent and how it contributes to the spirit of our school. Winners will receive a grant to fund a project of their choice. His mind raced. A competition, a chance to show everyone the untold stories and talents in their lives? This could be the platform they needed. He turned to Sarah and Mike, excitement bubbling up from deep within. What if we enter this contest together? This is our chance to be seen, not just as janitors, but as custodians of our community. The crowd murmured, anticipation building. Sarah's eyes glinted with determination. We can show what it means to be part of this place, to fight for what we have. This isn't just about us, it's about the kids, the future. Chris nodded, emboldened by the reaction around him. Right, we show our skills, our stories. We can dedicate our project to Lily's class and raise awareness. We have something unstoppable here. Lily beamed up at him, her faith visibly reinforcing Chris's courage. Just then, Mike spoke up with a grin. And I've seen you dance, Chris. Remember those dance-offs at the school fundraisers? You've got moves. Laughter erupted from the crowd, breaking through the remaining tension. They were no longer just talking about a competition. They were digging into their shared history, the moments that made them a community. Chris felt the warmth of camaraderie wash over him like a gentle wave. As the energy surged, Chris could almost visualize their project. Unity, creativity, heart. It would be a tribute to everyone who kept the school thriving. But then worry crept in. What if they didn't win? What if their stories were dismissed? Would that all be for nothing? But as he looked around at his friends, their faces glowing with excitement, he recognized something powerful. The act of trying, of standing together, was an achievement in itself. It was never just about winning. It was about changing perceptions and lifting each other up. Let's brainstorm ideas tonight, Chris urged, arms wide. Each of us has something unique to offer. We'll put it all out there. A ripple of enthusiasm sparked. They chattered, sharing stories and ideas, their excitement feeding on each other. Chris felt hope swell within him. For the first time in a long while, they were all standing on the same ground, ready to fight together. But even as he basked in the warmth of community, Chris couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Somewhere deeper, in the recesses of his heart, a whisper called. What if there was more to that competition than a simple grant? What hidden challenges awaited them as they ventured into their shared stories? Two paths stretched before them, one lit by the possibility of success, the other shadowed with uncertainty. With the envelope in one hand and unyielding determination in the other, he wondered if they were ready to face what lay ahead. The stakes felt enormous, but so did their potential. As they crowded around to share ideas, Chris suddenly caught sight of the CEO standing at the edge of the room, arms crossed, an expression of skepticism etched on his face. Was he watching? What would he think? And just like that, silence fell back around Chris, a weight settling over him. What would happen when... Would they truly put their talents on display? Would they finally break through or fall short? Feeling the weight of the moment, Chris couldn't help but ask himself, were they ready to shine no matter what came next? The chatter diminished as Chris shifted his focus back to the stage. The applause faded into the background, replaced by the nervous hum of possibility that filled the air like static. His heart thudded in his chest, a mix of excitement and fear mingling, an electric reminder of what was at stake. Okay, let's do this, Chris said, rallying his friends. We need to brainstorm our ideas. What do we want to show? What talents can we highlight that speak to who we really are? Mike, bubbly and animated, threw his hands up. I can play guitar. We can have a jam session right in the middle of the video. And Sarah, your cooking is legendary. How about a segment with your best recipe? Sarah clapped her hands together, her eyes lighting up. I love that. We could sprinkle in little insights about what these things mean to us, how they connect to the school. This isn't just about us, it's about our legacy. Chris felt the momentum gathering like a storm unleashed. Each idea was a droplet pulling into something bigger, something that could splash down and cause a wave. Yes, we need to include everyone's talents. Imagine a montage, a glimpse into our lives, our community, showing the heart of this school. Lily watched with sparkly-eyed wonder as her father animatedly sketched the outline of their video on a scrap of paper. Each scribble fueled a flame inside him. This was more than a project. It was a chance to honor his role as a dad and a worker, to show others the beauty in their shared struggle. With every suggestion, Chris sensed that fear retreating like shadows at dawn. What if they were dismissed? What if it didn't resonate? He took a deep breath, glancing at Lily. She nodded at him, her confidence grounding his swirling doubts. "All right, we need a theme, something that ties everything together," Chris continued, deciding to take the plunge. "What about the hidden talents of our everyday heroes?" Mic drop. Silence enveloped them. Sarah broke it first, her eyes wide. "That's brilliant! It reflects all of us, sharing our stories and showing people what we can do. Not just janitors, but vital parts of this community." A warm wave of fellowship swept over Chris again, filling him with camaraderie. It reminded him of the unconditional strength they had built together, battling through frustration and loneliness. They were just ordinary people with stories that deserved to be told. "Let's make it personal," Chris said, tapping the paper excitedly. "Let's weave in moments that define us, the time we spent here, not just what we do, but why we do it. Every smile, every challenge, every victory is a part of this place." Mike high-fives Chris. "And we throw in some fun bloopers, right? A little humor to lighten the mood. It'll show we're not just serious all the time. This is just as much about joy." As they brainstormed, ideas flew like sparks in a night sky. Chris connected with his friends in a new way. Each shared laugh and insight deeper than before. Tentative fears felt like weeds and blooming flowers, their resilience evident. But as he reveled in this moment, the CEO's gaze lingered in his mind. What would he think when he saw their video? Would he see them only as janitors or as the dedicated people they truly were? Chris's chest tightened again. The contest wasn't just a project. It was a challenge that could redefine how they saw themselves and how they were seen by others. The pressure of acceptance loomed. "Let's wrap this up and spread out some roles," Chris urged, attempting to clear his swirling thoughts. "We have work to do." As they each claimed their tasks, Chris looked each one in the eye, determination building like a fortress within him. But even as he held on to hope, the nagging thought remained. Were they prepared for the hard truths that might come with unveiling the deeper layers of their lives? With heavy hearts and eager smiles, they set off to prepare, eyes shining with the anticipation of what lay ahead. What challenges would arise when they peeled back the layers? Would their vulnerability be met with kindness, or would they discover just how much the world could judge them? Determined, Chris felt a spark inside. It was time to break free. But was he ready for the truth that lay just beyond the horizon? The day dawned bright, sunlight pouring through the window as Chris paced his tiny living room, rehearsing. The video shoot was just hours away, and his heart raced with a mixture of excitement and dread. He couldn't shake the feeling that this was their moment, a chance to show the world who they really were. Lily bounded into the room, her hair messily sticking up in all directions, holding a bowl of cereal. She looked up, sensing her father's tension. "Daddy, are you okay?" Chris smiled, though it felt a little shaky. "I'm just getting a bit nervous, kiddo. Today is big for me and my friends." Her little brow furrowed. "You'll be great. You always are." "You think so?" He knelt down to meet her gaze, taking the moment to soak in the innocence and pride reflected in her eyes. "Yup, plus you have the best dance moves." She twirled, a whirlwind of energy that made Chris laugh. Lily's infectious joy melted some of Chris's anxiety. With a deep breath, He ruffled her hair, grateful for her unwavering support. Together, they rushed out the door. The school gym buzzed with energy as Chris and his friends set up their equipment. Mike fine-tuned his guitar, Sarah organized her cooking supplies, and the air was filled with the everything felt right in this space, like they belonged finally. Okay, team, Chris clapped his hands, commanding attention. Remember, we're not just putting together a video, we're telling our stories. Let's capture moments that matter. As they began filming, Chris took turns facing the camera. Each person shared snippets of their lives, revealing hidden passions. Sarah narrated her family's recipes, blending nostalgia and flavor, while Mike strummed catchy tunes that echoed their youth. But then, as Chris stepped into the spotlight, a wave of uncertainty washed over him. This was it, the moment where he would reveal the raw, unpolished truth about himself. Could he do it? "Hey everyone," he started hesitantly. "I'm Chris. I clean this school. But what you might not see is that I also love to paint." His hand shook slightly as he shared how painting had been his escape, a way to express emotions he couldn't voice. He explained how each stroke on a canvas captured his struggles and dreams. The words flowed, building in intensity. "I want you to see that we're more than what meets the eye. We're artists, cooks, musicians. We have stories worth telling. We matter." Lily stood off to the side, watching with wide eyes. She only knew her dad as the man who held her when she cried, who cheered for every little victory. To see him bear his passions on camera filled her heart with pride. Then it happened. Chris, lost in the moment, caught a glimpse of the gym entrance where the CEO stood watching, arms crossed, expression unreadable. The knot in Chris's stomach tightened as his thoughts spiraled. Would he see the value in what they were offering, their lives, their passions, or would they be dismissed as just janitors? The words bubbled in his throat. He felt exposed, yet vibrant. This is not just our job, it's part of our identity, our legacy. We may have hidden talents, but that doesn't mean we're hidden. The camera captured the resolve in his voice, in the way he stood firm, sharing a truth that felt electric. Then it hit him. What if he wasn't just fighting for their recognition? What if this was a fight for all the hard-working parents out there who struggled quietly and needed to be seen? Heart racing, Chris looked into the lens, hoping he could break through the barrier of preconceived notions. As the day wrapped up, excitement surged in the air. But deep down, the unanswered question loomed. What would the CEO think when he witnessed their efforts? With everyone still buzzing about the success of their project, Chris felt a flicker of doubt mixed with hope. Could their stories change him? Could their voices truly make a difference? A moment of truth was approaching, one that could alter their lives forever. Would they rise to the occasion, or would they retreat into the familiar darkness of neglect? At that moment, Chris knew there was only one way to find out. The feeling inside him surged, a call to courage. Today was about more than themselves. It was about showcasing their worth. As they prepared for the big reveal, anticipation dripped from the air, thick with nerves. The spotlight was on them. But what would happen next? Would this moment transform everything they believed about themselves? The tension in the gym was palpable as Chris stared at the CEO, who leaned casually against the wall, arms still crossed. For a moment, time stood still. The laughter and chatter surrounding them faded away, leaving just Chris and the man whose judgment could change everything. "All right, everyone," shouted Mike. He broke the silence, enthusiasm radiating from him like the sun. "Let's show them what we've got." The air shifted as they reset, a fresh wave of enthusiasm washing over Chris. He could feel the pulse of the moment, a blend of his heartbeat and the drum of their collective hopes. They were about to share not just their art, but the very essence of their existence. First up was Mike. He launched into a guitar riff that filled the gym, a melody as bright as the morning sun. The notes sparkled, dancing through the air, encapsulating the dreams not just of one person, but of a community waiting to be heard. Sarah followed, her hands moving deftly, cooking up not only a dish, but memories that took everyone back to simpler times. She spoke about how her grandmother's recipes were more than just food. They were stories wrapped in flavors. Chris could feel himself swelling with pride for his friends. They were so much more than the jobs they did. This was their moment, and he dared to believe in it. As he took his final turn before the camera, resolve washed over him like a warm tide. "Remember," he said, voice steady, "we each carry a piece of our history. I didn't share this before, but art has shaped me, molded me. It saved me when I thought I was invisible. So today, I invite you to see this journey. We are visible, and we matter." Lily jumped and clapped, her small hands barely making a sound, yet brimming with pure joy. She was his anchor, reminding her that there was strength in vulnerability, that showing who you are could ignite possibility. The CEO's stony expression didn't waver as he observed, but Chris couldn't focus on that. Instead, he focused on the cheers that erupted around them. "Let's make sure they see who we are," shouted Sarah, her eyes twinkling with determination. The excitement spread like wildfire. Chris felt his heart swelling, a mix of hope and fear, but mostly hope. Then a shift in energy washed over the room. There was a break in the crowd's focus. A group of students entered, unaware of the filming in progress. Their laughter echoed, bright but tinged with an innocent cruelty as they snickered in disbelief at what they saw. "They're just janitors," one said. "What do they even know?" Time slowed again. Chris faced the camera, his breath hitching. But before he could sink into despair, he caught Lily's gaze. It was fierce and unwavering, a reminder of what this was all for. "Wait," he called out, voice rising above the murmurs. "This isn't just for us anymore." The room fell silent, eyes flickering between Chris and the intruding students. An idea struck him, a bold notion pushing against the doubt. "Let me show you something. Come forward." The hesitation hung like fog, thick but clear. Chris felt the weight of all his past fears crashing against the hopeful tide. Would they come? Would that CEO even care? The students stepped forward, some curiosity sparking in their eyes. And Chris took a breath. Welcome to our world. It's messy, fun, and filled with color, just like our lives. Let's teach each other something today. Maybe today would be different. Maybe this would open the door. Behind him, he could almost hear the CEO's thoughts racing, and with it came the thrill of the unknown. Would the moment spark change, or would it be just another blip on the radar? As Chris held out his hand to the students, a surge of fear fought against the blooming hope in his chest. Could this really be the turning point? Would they face and embrace the truth together? Every second felt thicker than the one before, and all he had to do was wait for the answer. What awoke in the room that day could either shatter or elevate everything they believed in. The spotlight was brighter than ever. Their futures hung in the balance. Would this moment continue to ripple forward or fade away like so many before? The students hesitated, their faces a mix of skepticism and intrigue. Chris's heart raced. It felt as if they were teetering on the edge of a cliff together, some ready to leap into the unknown while others clung to safety. But for Chris, this wasn't just about them anymore. It was about the chance to prove that everyone had a story worth telling. "Come on," he urged, widening his smile. "You won't regret it. We can share our experiences, and who knows, we might learn something from each other." Slowly, one student stepped forward, curiosity winning over her doubt. The others followed, albeit hesitantly. Chris felt a rush of relief. If he could get them to engage, maybe they could show the CEO and the world just how powerful their stories could be. Lily beamed, her little face lighting up with excitement. She was ready, and that energy was contagious. "Let's do this," she shouted, clapping her hands. The encouragement from the youngest member seemed to strike a chord with everyone in the room. "Okay," Chris said enthusiastically, "let's start with a game. We'll exchange stories, 2 truths and a lie. It's easy, and it'll show you that even janitors have fascinating lives." The students glanced at each other. Confusion mingling with amusement. But there was something about Chris's earnest tone, his unyielding optimism, that began to draw them in. One by one, they nodded, breaking out of their initial skepticism. The first student, a tall boy with tousled hair, stepped up. "Fine, I'll go first. I've traveled to 4 countries, I have a pet iguana, and I've dated a famous musician." Chris couldn't help but laugh softly. "Okay, let's see. I'm guessing the iguana is a lie." A ripple of laughter echoed throughout the group, softening their initial barrier. As they took turns sharing truths and lies, more laughter flowed, and shock spread with every unexpected revelation. These students were letting their guard down, a crack forming in the concrete wall built around their perceptions. As they took turns sharing truths and lies, more laughter flowed, and shock spread with every unexpected revelation. These students were letting their guard down, a crack forming in the concrete wall built around their perceptions. As things warmed up, Chris felt something shift in the air. The CEO had quietly watched from his spot, expression unreadable. The giggles and grins breaking out among the students felt electric, like a fuse being lit. "I'll go next," Chris said, summoning a rush of courage as he felt the eyes on him. "I've performed in front of thousands. I once made a sculpture out of chewing gum, and I'm a black belt in karate." The room erupted in laughter. Chris smirked, feeling the weight lift off him. "Okay, let's see. I'm guessing the iguana is a lie." Another wave of laughter rolled through the gym, softening their initial barrier. As they took turns sharing truths and lies, more laughter flowed, and shock spread with every unexpected revelation. These students were letting their guard down, a crack forming in the concrete wall built around their perceptions. As things warmed up, Chris felt something shift in the air. The CEO had quietly watched from his spot, expression unreadable. The giggles and grins breaking out among the students felt electric, like a fuse being lit. "I'll go next," Chris said, summoning a rush of courage as he felt the eyes on him. "I've performed in front of thousands. I once made a sculpture out of chewing gum, and I'm a black belt in karate." The room erupted in laughter. Chris smirked, feeling the weight lift off him. "Okay, just to clarify, I've never made a sculpture out of chewing gum." Another wave of laughter rolled through the gym, and with it, Chris could see the CEO's brows furrow slightly. He was listening now, engaged in the transformation happening right before him. Just then, one of the boldest students, Emma, spoke up. "You all seem fun, but how can we relate? You're janitors. We're like the future, right?" Chris's heart sank. It was a sharp reminder of their divide, a line that hadn't been fully crossed yet. But instead of retreating, something shifted within him. "Because we're all just people with dreams, Emma. No matter where you come from, no one's future is guaranteed. This might be my job, but it doesn't define me. I have hopes, I have passions, and I'm here to share them, just like you all." The room grew quiet for a moment as her eyes widened, absorbing his words. Could they really find common ground? He dared to hope that this was it. Then, as if a new idea sparked in her mind, Emma grinned mischievously. "Okay then, what are your dreams?" The question hung in the air, heavy with anticipation. Chris's heart raced. This was more than a simple exchange. It was an invitation to reveal their deepest aspirations. As he began to share, he could feel the collective breath of the room, the weight of their shared vulnerability. This moment could be a turning point for everyone, including the CEO standing there, observing. Whatever happened next, they were in this together. What would unfold from this raw moment of honesty? Chris could only wonder what ripple of connection would emerge next as the power of truth settled around them. Would this breakthrough be enough to shift not only perceptions but lives? Chris looked around the room, his heart pounding.
"I dream of becoming an artist," he said, the words spilling out almost like a confession. "I love painting and sculpting. It's my escape and my passion. I want to create pieces that make people feel something deep inside." The students stayed silent, their expressions shifting from skepticism to genuine curiosity. He could see a few furrowed brows ponder over the unexpected revelation, while others leaned in slightly, as if drawn to his voice. "What kind of paintings?" Emma asked, her expression softening as she pulled her hair behind her ear. "Mostly abstract," Chris replied, his cheeks warming as he dared to share more. "Colors, shapes. I love the chaos and the beauty of it all. I've never had the time to really pursue it, but maybe someday I can fully embrace it." As he spoke, Chris felt a newfound energy. It was like the atmosphere lifted, creating space for honesty and connection. Each student could see the flicker of dreams in his eyes, and their own dreams began surfacing too. "I'm into music," said Jake, the tall boy with tousled hair. "I play guitar. I want to start a band one day, but it's hard when everyone expects me to focus on school." More heads began to nod, the barriers crumbling piece by piece. Chris sensed threads of shared experience weaving between them. They spoke about hurdles and goals, aspirations and doubts, their spirits brightening with every story told. Lily chimed in, her voice bubbling with excitement. "I want to be a veterinarian. I love animals so much. I've been volunteering at the shelter near my house, and it makes me happy." "That's amazing," Chris beamed, his heart swelling with pride for her. "You found your passion already." Encouraged by the warmth in the room, a few more students shared their dreams. Stories blossomed like flowers breaking through concrete. Each whispered hope, each fear laid bare, began dismantling the walls of perception separating the group. But it was Emma's turn again that caught Chris off guard. "You know," she said with a newfound seriousness, "I often feel pressure to be perfect. I worry if I fail, it'll disappoint my parents. I don't even know what I want anymore." An electric hush fell over their circle. Chris nodded, sensing her hesitation and fear mirroring his own. "It's okay to feel that way, Emma. For all of us, life isn't about being perfect. It's about doing what brings you joy, even if it takes time to figure it out." A sense of unity began to fill the air, tightening the bond among them. Chris could almost see that invisible thread connecting their dreams, weaving hope into their hearts. The CEO, too, appeared intrigued, a curious gaze now scanning the sea of young faces sharing raw truths. "Maybe," Chris continued, "the most powerful stories are the ones where we dare to be vulnerable. Maybe together we can inspire others to do the same." As the room buzzed with emotional energy, Chris caught a glimpse of hope shining in the CEO's eyes. Maybe they'd done it. Maybe this moment could translate into something bigger. But just as positivity began sizzling in the air, the CEO cleared his throat, breaking the moment's flow. "This is all very touching," he said, though his tone maintained a cool detachment. "But I need to know, can these stories contribute to my vision for the company?" A chill swept through the room, and Chris felt his heart drop. Could their new bond withstand pressure? Would the stories they had bared truly be enough to make a difference in such a lofty dream? The answer felt close, but also terrifying. How could they ensure their voices would matter in a world where dreams often collided with reality? As the tension built, Chris looked around at the hopeful eyes and vulnerable hearts. Just then, he sensed a spark of inspiration rise up in him. Then let's show him. Let's make our dreams part of something bigger. But would Chris find the courage to turn their shared vulnerability into a mission that could reach the CEO? The possibilities felt endless, but fear lingered in the air, waiting to be confronted. What would happen when they put everything on the line? Chris felt a mix of excitement and anxiety swirling inside him as he glanced across the room. The faces of the other students, lit with urgency, reflected his own inner turmoil. This moment could define who they were and what they stood for.
He could sense the weight of their dreams hanging in the air, ready to burst forth like a spring bloom. "Okay, everyone," Chris said, his voice trembling slightly. "Let's brainstorm. How can we take our stories and craft something that really resonates?" Emma's brow furrowed in concentration. What if we combined our dreams into one big project, like a showcase or exhibition? We can display our art, music, and stories together. Make it a celebration of who we are. Lily's eyes widened. And we could involve our community, invite our families, maybe even local businesses. It could show everyone what we're passionate about. With each idea shared, Chris felt the energy in the room intensifying. Collective enthusiasm grew, sparking more thoughts. Jake jumped in. We could film a video or do a performance, show how we're all different but connected through our dreams. "Like a documentary," Emma exclaimed, her excitement bubbling over. "We can capture our journey, the struggles, the victories, everything." The words flowed faster now, everyone building on one another's ideas. It felt electric. Chris absorbed their passion like sunlight, fueling his resolve. "And we can use the video to promote our exhibition, share it on social media to get more people involved," he added, emboldened by their enthusiasm. As the ideas circled around the room, Chris caught a glimpse of the CEO's face. At first, he looked detached, but Chris noticed a slight spark in his eyes as he began to lean forward, intrigued by the unfolding plans. Was it possible that their dreams could truly create change? "Let's start with our artwork," Chris said, trying to steer the focused energy. "I'll dedicate some pieces to how art has impacted my life and how it can impact others. And I'll compose a song that captures the essence of our experiences," Jake chimed in, strumming an imaginary guitar. Lily clapped her hands. "And I'll create a poster showcasing the different fields we want to pursue, highlighting the beauty in chasing our dreams." The room bubbled with ideas, energy igniting the atmosphere. Chris felt more connected to them than ever. He could feel the weight of their shared vulnerability transforming into something powerful, something they could all rally behind. Then the CEO spoke, a hint of earnestness threading through his usual detachment. "I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I need your stories to have impact, to resonate with others. Anyone can showcase things, but how will you make your voices heard?" Silence enveloped them once again. Chris's heart raced as he attempted to grasp the gravity of the challenge laid before them. What was he missing? How could they elevate their passion beyond just their small circle? Suddenly, Chris remembered the passion driving him to paint. "Let's weave our narratives into a shared vision, something that speaks to everyone," he proposed. "We can create a message that goes beyond just art or music. We can show the struggles we face and inspire hope in others. If we embrace our fears and show our true selves, it may resonate deeper than we think." The CEO's skepticism flickered as he tracked each student's eager expression, absorbing their fire, longing to validate their desires. "Maybe it won't just be about what we create, but how it makes others feel," Chris added, voice trembling with vulnerability. "We're not just chasing dreams for ourselves, we're promoting connection and understanding." After a heavy pause, the CEO nodded slowly, a flicker of recognition crossing his face. "Okay, let's see what you can create. I'll support your project, but I need to believe it will leave an impact." As Chris absorbed those words, hope surged through him. They had an opportunity to bridge their dreams with a purpose greater than themselves. But could they rise to the challenge and fully realize the potential of their collective voices? As excitement crackled in the air like electricity, a new question lingered in Chris's mind. What if their vulnerability became the very spark that could ignite change? With determination building, Chris wondered what the first step would be in transforming their dreams into a voice that couldn't be ignored. The sun set behind the school building, casting a warm glow that spilled into the gymnasium like a promise, a vibrant hue of orange and pink. Chris stood in front of his community, his friends, and a group of tentative students who had shared their dreams. He felt the energy shift, a palpable blend of hope and determination. "Okay, team," Chris said, pulling everyone's focus. We've come so far today, but now we need to turn this moment into something real. We're more than just janitors or students. We are symbols of persistence and passion. Let's craft our project." Excitement buzzed in the air, anticipation crackling as everyone faced their shared challenge head on. Lily stood at his side, her eyes twinkling with confidence, a tiny beacon of light reminding him they were in this together. "Let's break it down," Chris suggested, gesturing towards the whiteboard. "What sections can we create for the showcase?" The room erupted with ideas, a revival of energy flowing through each suggestion. Jake suggested a mini-concert to showcase music interspersed with stories. Sarah envisioned a cooking segment that highlighted family recipes tied to their heritage. And Chris saw the art pieces come to life. "We can also invite other hidden talents in our school," Lily chimed in, her enthusiasm infectious. "We'll create a true celebration of our community." "Exactly," Chris replied, feeling the warmth of unity enveloping them. "Let's reach out for support too. Local businesses, artists, everyone who has something to contribute." Lily jumped up, her freckles crinkling as she beamed. "I can help design posters to get the word out. We'll use every ounce of talent we have." Momentum surged in the room. Each suggestion, each laugh birthed a new layer of connection. But amidst the whirlwind, Chris could feel a flutter of fear lingering. "What if they still don't see us for what we are?" he thought. But as he scanned the room, the faces around him were filled with determination and hope. A chorus of voices rang out, fueled by rising excitement. "Let's make this personal," Sarah proclaimed. "Let's share what our jobs mean to us." "Let's show them," Chris echoed, feeling an electric thrill course through him. They dove into planning like it was second nature, brainstorming the layout of their showcase. They envisioned using the gym space creatively. Art hung on walls, a cooking station in a corner, and an area for performances. The storytelling would flow seamlessly, linking their passions into a unified message. Everyone added their unique touch. Time blurred as they worked, laughter intertwining with heartfelt discussions. Chris marveled at how quickly they fell into rhythm. Every idea ignited another with hope and creativity, building a tapestry of dreams. As dusk settled outside, a fleeting glance at the gym's entrance reminded Chris of the CEO. He was watching, arms uncrossed, his expression slightly intrigued. Would he feel the power radiating from their collective voices? When the final plans were set, Lily tugged at Chris's sleeve. "We should practice our stories tonight," she said, determination shining through her innocence. "Right," Chris agreed heartily, and they began rehearsing. Each individual shared their narratives, weaving in humor, truth, and vulnerability. Laughter filled the air, mingling with moments of silence as they captured the essence of who they truly were. Finally, it was Chris's turn. Taking a deep breath, he swallowed the remaining doubts and prepared to bare his soul. "I'm Chris, and my life has been filled with ups and downs," he began, feeling the words flow as if painting a canvas. "As a janitor, I sometimes felt invisible, but that's not my whole story. I'm a father, an artist. I want to show that what we do matters. Every day, we contribute to a new generation." His voice quivered but held steady, emotion swirling in the air. "All of our dreams are valid. We all have something to offer the world. This showcase isn't just about lifting ourselves. It's about inspiring others, the kids, the parents, everyone, to embrace their own stories." As he spoke, a gentle ripple of acknowledgement passed through the circle, eyes glistening with shared understanding. It felt as if they were standing on the edge of something huge together. When they finished rehearsing, the atmosphere shifted once more. Chris looked to Lily, who smiled brightly up at him. Her unwavering faith nourished his courage. "Tomorrow is the big day," he said, meeting the eyes of each friend in the circle. "Let's go out there, share our hearts, and show them what we're really made of." Lily jumped up, her excitement palpable. "I believe in us." They all echoed her sentiment,
a rush of collective determination echoing in the room. Chris felt a grin spread across his face. This was it. As the sun dipped below the horizon, a sense of peace filled Chris's heart. They were ready to embrace vulnerability, ready to show the world what it truly meant. The next day, the gym hummed with energy. Friends, family, and students gathered, buzzing with excitement. Chris stood at the entrance, heart racing, scanning the room. Finally, the moment arrived. Their combined talents filled the space with life, vibrancy spilling from every corner. Just as they were about to begin, the CEO entered, a slight curiosity in his stride. Chris's stomach churned, nerves fluttering. This was their chance. Would their truth resonate? As the showcase unfolded, the story shared, songs sung, and laughter echoed through the air. With each performance, Chris could see the audience's gaze shift, barriers breaking as they connected with the heartfelt tales unfolding before them. Finally, Chris stepped forward, taking a deep breath. Today, we invite you not just to see us, but to hear us. We are the unsung heroes, hidden among the walls of this school. We challenge you to look beyond our jobs and explore the heart of who we are. His voice rang with conviction, resonating deep within the silence that followed. Across the gym, Chris could see the shift in expressions, curiosity, empathy, and understanding painting their faces as the audience leaned in. The CEO's gaze softened, his posture shifting as he absorbed the truth in Chris's words. There was a vulnerability in the room that felt transformative.
Breaking down walls of judgment. I invite you to consider how we can all come together to support each other's dreams, Chris continued, feeling empowered. If we can stand together today, then we can build a future where everyone is seen, valued, and celebrated. A charged silence followed, heavy but filled with possibility. As applause erupted, Chris felt an overwhelming sense of hope surging through him. This wasn't just about recognition. It was about embracing the idea that they all played a crucial role in shaping a brighter future. As the audience applauded, Chris caught Lily's eye. She beamed at him, her joy contagious. It was clear they had shifted something larger than themselves. From that moment on, everything felt different. It was as if they had opened a door to compassion, proving that even the smallest voices could echo loudly enough to make a difference. It was the start of a new chapter, not just for Chris and his friends, but for every single person touched by their revelation. They had shown that together they were an unstoppable force, carrying dreams worth sharing into the world. With hearts full of hope, they embraced the crowd, knowing they had taken the first step toward changing not just their own lives, but igniting a wave of transformation in their community. This was their moment, and with it came the realization that they would never again be invisible. Together, they had created something extraordinary, a testament to resilience, shared dreams, and the power of unity. As the final applause rang through the gym, Chris stood tall, chest swelling with pride. They did it. They were seen, and the journey had only just begun. Now it's your turn to join the movement and spread the love. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us share these powerful messages. Comment below with your feelings about this transformation and what it means to you. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful journey. Don't wait, not even one more second. Show your support and be part of a community that believes in dreaming big and uplifting one another. As the audience applauded, Chris stood tall, chest swelling with pride. They did it. They were seen, and the journey had only just begun. Now it's your turn to join the movement and spread the love. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us share these powerful messages. Comment below with your feelings about this transformation and what it means to you. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful journey. Don't wait, not even one more second. Show your support and be part of a community that believes in dreaming big and uplifting one another.